The forest hides many dangerous things, but is this strange-looking tree one of them? But there's no doubt that you should turn tail and run if you see this thing coming. But first, let's talk about a plant that is so deadly, its poison is still being used effectively to this day. Number 10. Wolfsbane. It may look striking due to its shockingly purple color, but wolfsbane is actually one of the most dangerous plants you'll ever encounter out in the wild. Also called monk's hood, this beautiful flower is filled with cardiotoxins and neurotoxins, toxins that have been used by natives to make poison arrows when hunting for wolves, hence its name. Just a few drops of the sap of this plant, especially the roots, can cause cardiovascular paralysis. They also interfere with respiratory functions that could lead to eventual death. In the Middle Ages, people used these dangerous jungle plants as an ingredient for love potions. However, they seem to offer no result other than killing the love subject. For this reason, they also earned the nickname Mourning Widow. Lakvinder Cheema is one of the latest victims of wolfsbane. In 2010, his lover Lakvir Kaur Singh, later known as the Curry Killer, laced his curry with aconitum. Cheema did not survive. Number 9. Strychnine tree. Strychnine became a very popular toxin at the beginning of the 20th century. What you might not know is that it wasn't concocted in a laboratory. Instead, this poison was created naturally by a tree. The strychnine tree is a species native to Southeast Asia and India. Despite its deceptive facade, what with its thick leaves and ordinary-looking branches, this tree carries dollar-like seeds which are the source of the strychnine poison. But just what is this that makes it so fearsome? A victim could be dead within 10 to 20 minutes with the correct dose. It sounds like a relatively quick and painless way to die, but I assure you research says otherwise. If ingested, the poison causes eye pain, dizziness, muscle cramping, paralysis, and a heavy tongue. Thankfully, there are now effective treatments against strychnine due to modern medicine, leaving this murder weapon a thing of the past for old-timey detective novels and shows. Also, despite its toxicity, it has been found that this plant has medical applications for cancer treatment. Number 8. The Fer de Lance. This snake, which is part of the viper family, can be found in the South American rainforests. They are also quite large for venomous snakes, with females often measuring around 6 feet long, with the males slightly smaller. However, no matter how big they are, all of them are equally deadly. A mere 50 milligrams of the Fer de Lance's hemotoxic and cytotoxic venom is enough to kill an adult human. However, it is rare for this snake to inject such a minuscule amount of venom. In fact, the Fer de Lance injects around 105 milligrams in one bite. These are nocturnal snakes that are unpredictable due to nervousness. If threatened, the Fer de Lance puffs up its body to appear larger and will shake its tail to scare off predators. And it's this nervousness that makes them particularly dangerous. In fact, these snakes are responsible for killing more humans than any other snake in South America. Number 7. The bullet ant. The bullet ant is officially the largest ant in the world, but that's not its only claim to fame, which we'll get into in a moment. They are mostly found in rainforests of Nicaragua and Paraguay, so if you don't live in those parts of the world, consider yourself lucky. Bullet ants are so named not because they are bullet-sized, but rather by their painful sting, which is often likened to being hit by a bullet. Bite victims have reported that after being bitten, they feel the pain so intense that it feels like they've been shot. To put it further into perspective, the sting of a bullet ant is 30 times more painful than a wasp or a honeybee. This 1-inch ant is also called the 24-hour ant, because the pain bite victims feel can last for 24 hours. Like their smaller cousins, bullet ant colonies contain hundreds of members, and they usually make their nests at the bases of large trees. They also release unpleasant odors when they encounter any predator. If that trick doesn't drive predators away, they would never hesitate to attack, overwhelming any creature by sheer number, smothering them with painful stings. Number 6. The Jequirity. For the Chinese, the Jequirity or the rosary pea symbolizes love. That's why this forest plant is also called the mutual love bean. But the scarlet beans of this seemingly harmless pea have no love in its shell for animals and humans. These innocent-looking beans contain abrin, a milder but still deadly toxin similar to ricin. These dangerous plants can be found in the forests of Belize, the Caribbean, Polynesia, and Hawaii. Abrin is absorbed slightly slower in the digestive tract than ricin, but they are fatal nonetheless. The black and red seed that resembles a ladybug makes fine jewelry because of its hard shell. But accidental pricking of the seeds when threading the jewelry sometimes can cause untimely death. Number 5. The Amazonian giant centipede. The Amazonian giant centipede is among the largest centipedes in the world, growing to 12 inches or more. It can be found in various places throughout South America, especially the Amazon and the Caribbean, where it preys on a variety of animals, including insects, other sizable amphibians, arthropods, reptiles, and mammals. The centipede is nervous and jumpy, also carnivorous and very aggressive, not a good combination. It feeds on almost everything it comes across. They seem to prefer eating bats though, as they actually develop a special way of catching them. They climb cave walls to the ceiling and wait for a passing bat. When the prey is close enough, the centipede lunges out while holding onto the cave wall with its rear legs and grabs the bat. Then they hold and manipulate their prey with just a few legs attached to the ceiling. Unfortunately, also being venomous, there have been reports of these insects killing humans. Its venom is laced with a toxin that disrupts the channels responsible for maintaining the cell's potassium balance. Without this channel operating, the brain, heart, lungs, and other body systems completely shut down. Number 4. The castor oil plant. The castor plant is grown domestically as ornamental plants, but they are also abundant in the jungles of India, Eastern Africa, and the Mediterranean basin. They are generally considered beneficial, being an effective treatment for wounds and have laxative properties. Today, the oil is used in many products, including Castrol R racing motor oil, chocolate, and cosmetics, particularly lipstick. However, this humble plant has a dark side to it. The castor seed, when broken down, produces a toxic substance called ricin. Traces of ricin lace its beautiful leaves and pom-pom flowers. For context, ricin is more poisonous than venoms and cyanides. It is 6,000 times more poisonous than cyanide and 12,000 times more poisonous than rattlesnake venom. In fact, just 1/1,000,000th of an ounce can kill an adult male. The castor bean is so deadly that the Guinness World Records named it the most poisonous plant in the world. It can cause gastrointestinal disturbances and cell death. And with that, it's now time for today's best pick. Which is a tree that is obviously phallic, but is it dangerous? This, my friends, is the Huaquapona palm tree. And despite it looking, well, weird, it's not a danger to us at all. There are, however, trees whose fruits can literally crack our heads open. Find out more about it next. Number 3. The cannonball tree. If a cannonball hits you, chances are you'll be dead. The same thing can be said for the fruits of the cannonball tree. They are abundant in the tropical rainforests of South and Central America, but they are also available in India, where they are highly regarded as a sacred tree. But sacred or not, standing beneath this tree is a definite no-no. This tree is, in fact, one of the dangerous jungle plants that explorers should look for. They have hard and heavy fruits growing straight out of their trunks. When these fruits fall and hit the ground, they make a loud bang that is similar to the sound of a cannon being fired. The explosions themselves aren't dangerous, but getting hit on the head of one of these cannonball-sized fruits is the problem. In fact, there have been recorded cases wherein people who have received a direct hit on the head from one of these fruits suffered fatal injuries. Number 2. Gympie Gympie. The Gympie Gympie is a bush that looks like any other ordinary bush. It has wide leaves that usually have a deep green hue and berries that are bright purple like most wild berries. However, this innocent-looking plant can harm you in more ways than one. Native to the rainforests of northern Australia and India, this plant is covered with translucent stinging hairs. If these hairs come into contact with skin, it's said that it causes a pain so great it can drive a person to the point of madness. The pain has often been likened to being burned by hot acid and electrocuted at the same time, so in other words, ouch. It also contains a toxic substance called moroidin, a poison potent enough to kill insects, birds, or animals that ingest them. Oh, and in case you were wondering, in the right amount, moroidin can be fatal to humans as well. Number 1. The Brazilian wandering spider. The most terrifying animal you can encounter in the forest doesn't come in the form of a giant predator. It's actually quite small, which makes it even deadlier because you won't see it coming. The Brazilian wandering spider has the most neurologically active venom of all spiders and is regarded as the most dangerous spider in the world. They live naturally in forests, but tend to crawl into cozy, comfortable places for the night and sometimes crawl into fruits and flowers that humans consume and cultivate. If the spider has a reason to be alarmed, it will bite in order to protect itself, but unless startled or aggravated, most bites will be delivered dry or without venom. Venom bites will occur if the spider is pressed against something or hurt. In this case, the high levels of serotonin contained in the venom will deliver a very painful bite that can result in muscle shock. But that's not all. Wandering spider venom is known to be lethal in large enough doses. Children are particularly vulnerable to their bites. Because of a child's weaker immune system compared to adults, even bites that have been treated with antivenom can and have proven fatal.